Before we get into the video, look, I love this shirt. I literally just made it right before I sat down to film this, and it is 8 o'clock at night and I just got home from work and your girl is tired, but I want to get this video out for you guys. But isn't this cute? PNP, Pediatric Nurse Practitioner, established 2021. And welcome back to Jenean's Journey. Hi! This is so cool that I'm shooting this video today. One, because I just got my notification a few days ago that, you know, I officially passed my certification, even though I just posted today. Make sure you go check out the video, my test day vlog. And it took it took like a week for them to send me the official letter. And let me tell you guys, like, after I made all those phone calls, that I'm thinking, was I delirious? Did I really see pass? So I was really happy when I finally got the official certification, my certificate number, and I was just really excited to see that. And today, the state of Florida approved my advanced practice registered nurse license. So I got my APRN, my nurse practitioner license number today. And after I finish this video, I actually need to go apply for my NPI number, which is my National Provider Identification Number. Fill out my new employee paperwork as a pediatric nurse practitioner. Like, it still does not feel real that I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner or a nurse practitioner. I have to say the whole thing because then people ask, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I work in pediatrics. So that's why I say the whole thing. But anyway, hi you guys, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Jenean and I am newly licensed and newly certified as a pediatric nurse practitioner. I documented my last year of nursing school here on my YouTube channel. I'll link my nursing playlist and my new Nurse Practitioner Life playlist up in the cards for you guys. And I just want to say thank you. Like, I gotta get this housekeeping stuff out the way, but thank you. I have so many amazing new subscribers and I love each and every one of y'all. You guys drop down in those comments and you show me so much love, so much support, and I really appreciate you guys for that. So thank you so much for being a part of the Jenean's Journey crew. Yes, like we lit over here on Jenean's Journey. Really appreciate all the love. I go through every single last comment and I try and comment if I can. So thank you guys for all the love and support that you're providing me here on my channel. But you're here because, oh, and if you're new here and you want to be one of the amazing subscribers that I love, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But my very first tip in order to pass your board certification exam is to really pay attention, and pay attention while you're in school. I started, or at least during your clinical studies, I started making a spreadsheet of all the most common diagnoses that you see. Because board certification is going to test your knowledge on what we like to call horses and not zebras. So what horses are, I'm getting into it. Horses are your diagnoses that you will most commonly see, and zebras are those rare conditions that you would see maybe like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 500, something that you really don't see most often. It's good to know like what those zebras are, like acute lymphoblastic leukemia. That is, you know, I wouldn't say too rare, but it's not something that you would commonly see. So you want to focus on things that you would commonly see. For nurse practitioners, pediatric nurse practitioners, you're going to see otitis media, you're going to see upper respiratory infection, like so many of those. You're going to see strep, you're going to see ringworm, you're going to see urinary tract infection, you're going to see abscesses, you're going to see asthma exacerbation. So that's just a few of the common things you'll see. So you want to focus your studies on what you would commonly see in practice, and what you would commonly see in practice is what you would commonly see in clinical. So go ahead and make that common diagnosis spreadsheet. What I did, first column listed the diagnoses, the next column would be the signs and symptoms that the child presents with. So first column diagnoses, the next column signs and symptoms that they present with. The next column could be diagnostic tests that you would typically run, or what diagnostic criteria you would use to rule in or rule out the diagnoses. And then of course your treatment and education for the family and the patient. So make sure you're paying attention during school, most importantly during clinical. I'm highlighting clinical just because see one, do one, teach one. You see it in practice, you do it in practice, and it's something that's going to stick in your head. And making that spreadsheet, even if I even commonly repeated the diagnosis. So I saw 1 million strep throat and 1 million acute otitis media. I would continuously put it in every single time, so that you're creating that muscle memory and you're understanding what you're diagnosing, how to diagnose it, treat it, and what education you want to provide. So making sure I'm going to start you guys now while you're in school. Oh, sometimes life gets busy and you're kind of just studying for it. You're studying for that one test and you're not really understanding and learning what you need to learn. So go ahead and try to learn and commit to memory the diagnoses that you've seen throughout school. All right, the next one, y'all already know what I'm about to say. I didn't start off with it, but you know it's really, really important to me. It is to what? Let me hear it. Take a review course. Make sure you take a review course. Now, I took 2 review courses, one being the Fitzgerald review course and the second one being a Pediatric Nurse Practitioner certification review course offered by NAPNAP, and I talked about that a few times in a few videos. And that one was specific to my Nurse Practitioner certification board exam. The Fitzgerald, while this is not a review for Fitzgerald, it was not, I don't want to say all encompassing, but I don't think I learned much or I got much from the Fitzgerald review. But Fitzgerald review really specializes in adult. So if you are a family nurse practitioner or women's health nurse practitioner and you deal primarily with adults, I would say take the Fitzgerald. If you are a pediatric nurse practitioner, make sure you go to the NAPNAP's website and get the latest review course that they have there. They typically offer a review course once a year at their live national conferences. The one I purchased was from 2020 national conference, and it was amazing. It was really good. So if you're a pediatric nurse practitioner, go ahead and get the NAPNAP review course. If you are adult, I think Fitzgerald will do well for you. My friend Jenean, who is an FNP, she took Fitzgerald, and I actually took Fitzgerald because, well, I took Fitzgerald because my school offered it to my cohort for free, and also because my friend Jenean took it and she loved it. So yeah. So tip number 2, make sure you purchase a review course. And I'm telling you now, so you can go ahead and save up for it. Next up is questions. So make sure you answer as many questions as you can. So I am also recording today's video because, as promised, I am giving away a free Rosh Review question bank, and it is valued at $329. I'm giving away a free Rosh Review question bank to one of my lucky subscribers. I reached out to them while I was studying for boards because the very first day I'm like, I am in love with these questions and I am in love with the explanations and the illustrations that go with the explanation, and was, I think, one of the reasons why I passed boards, to be honest with you. And yeah, so make sure you answer as many questions as you possibly can. Read the explanations and details. I think whenever you are getting them wrong, because I felt like I was getting them all wrong, as you guys are going to see, I'm going to go ahead and take over the screen now so you guys can see me practicing some questions, so you can kind of see how it's set up. And I was like just getting them wrong and I'm just like, really? Like, are you even gonna pass this test? But the explanations that they provided, it gives you the, you know, the pathophysiology of why, you know, it gives you the why and the how of the diagnosis. But I want you to answer as many questions as you can. And even while you're in school, go ahead and start answering questions, because like I always tell you guys, they prepare you for your test as well. That way you're not surprised on test day when you're seeing the format of questions. All right, next is, I think, number 4, make a study schedule and what? Stick to it. I always say this, I think I've said this in like 2 or 3 other videos, I think my NCLEX video, but make a study schedule and stick to it. I know, I feel like I say the same things over and over too, but they are proven and it works. Make sure you create a realistic study schedule as well. I fortunately was able to take off for 4 weeks before. I took off for 4 weeks after I finished school so that I can truly focus on boards, and I realistically studied about 6 to 8 hours a day. 6 to 8 hours a day, depending upon the day it was. And I just, you know, I woke up every day like I was going to work, which was my studying is, you know, work. It is really like mentally and physically exhausting. So just make sure you create that study schedule and stick to it. My study schedule, if you were interested in how I studied, was Monday through Friday. I tried to make my mom's work schedule because she worked Monday, well actually she works Monday through Thursday, but some Fridays I would go ahead and just study. So I study mainly Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 8 to 3, you know, when I woke up that morning, 10 to 5. I really wanted to make sure I at least got between, like I said, between 6 and 8 hours of studying. So what I studied the first 2 weeks was I studied the test blueprint. So HEENT, respiratory, GI, GU, genetics. I just took my test blueprint and I broke it up, and I would study a few of those sections each day, of course with necessary study breaks. And then that last week, right before my test, I did nothing but answer questions, in addition to reviewing Picmonic along the way for the entire my entire 4 weeks. So the first 3 weeks I broke down the content and then I studied it every day. That last week I did nothing but questions, and like I said, throughout, whenever I had a question or if I didn't really understand a concept, I went through and I looked at those Picmonics that they had, looked at any Picmonics that they had that related to the topic. So the next tip I have kind of piggybacks on making a schedule. When you make a schedule and you're creating your schedule, making sure you are taking adequate study breaks. Study breaks. It's just really important to kind of rest and reset your mind, even if it is for 15-30 minutes at a time. Making sure you are taking that time out in between each section and resetting your mind and resetting your body so that you can focus on what you're studying. Last up for board certification tips is take a mock exam, making sure you're simulating exam day. I did a mock exam 2 days before my exam. I used Rosh Review. Go ahead and create an environment to simulate your test day so that you can kind of get in test mode, especially for board certification. Board exam is going to be a little bit different than your school exams, and it's going to be longer in duration. CB exam with 175 questions, a max of 3 hours, and with that you can take breaks if you want to, but your clock is still going. Fortunately for me, I am normally a fast test taker, but in my mock exam it took me 2 hours to do 150 questions. I'm not sure if I was just nervous, I was scared, but you kind of just want to get in that groove of answering an extended amount of questions for an extended amount of time, and kind of prepping your mind for what your exam day is going to be like. So I didn't take a break during my exam. I I hate to say this, but I pounded through those. It was 175 questions, and it took me an hour and 28 minutes to get through my exam. And I was really nervous because, like I said, 2 days prior I had did 150 questions, and it had taken me a little bit more than 2 hours to do that. So just go ahead and simulate test days, so you're kind of, like I said, get your mind and your body ready for test day. Just a few test day tips, a few test day reminders. I'm gonna put them here on the screen. These are the tips that I literally made like as I was studying, so that I could read them back to myself the day of the test and kind of just calm my nerves and calm my anxiety that I had. So tip number one is to breathe. Breathe, breathe. No explanation needed, right? So along with tip number one, next is gonna be tip number two, is to breathe and make sure you slow down and read the question thoroughly. Read the question and ask yourself, what is this asking me? Something that my mentor and the teachers throughout the program encourage us to do is to just slowly read the question. And then on with tip number two is to answer the question. So tip number three is to answer the question without looking at the answer choices. I know for myself, I can look at the answer choices and they could persuade me to like say, oh wait, but this might be the right one. But if you read the question slowly and thoroughly and ask yourself what it's asking you, and then tip number three, answer that question without looking at the answer choices, you're going to get it right. And the next tip is, after you've read the answer choices, you've answered it, follow your gut. Like, always go with your gut. Like, you've already read the question, you read it slowly, you read it thoroughly, you covered up the answer choices, and you've answered the question to the best of your ability without looking at the answers, and that is usually the correct response. So go with your gut. Don't let the other multiple choice options, you know, let them persuade you. Don't let them get you, because those options are very closely related to the answer, and it's just like the NCLEX. Which one is the most right? Of course, there are answers that are obviously right or wrong, but some of them are like, they can trick you. Next thing I wanted to remind myself was to pay attention to key phrases and keywords. For my exam, like if I was reading a question, a 4-year-old male, that got me to thinking, okay, what can affect 4-year-olds more so than they affect adolescents, and what affects 4-year-old males more so than it affects 4-year-old females. So pay close attention to those keywords and those key phrases that they put in those questions. And along with following your gut response is, don't second guess yourself. That's probably why I flew through the exam. It's because I followed my gut and I did not second guess myself. I just kept it moving, like, okay, this is what it is. Because if you start second guessing yourself, like I said, those distractors, because the other 3 options of the 4 multiple choice are distractors. Do not let the distractors get you. The next tip that I have for you is take your test at a time that you are most alert. 8:30 is kind of early, but I really wanted to take it at 12:30 because I felt like I would have been more alert at 12:30. But with my anxiety, I was up anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But if you are unlike me and you don't have test day jitters, you don't have any anxiety at all, make sure you are taking your test at an appropriate time for yourself that you're most alert. There are usually 2 to 3 different test times, 8:30, 12:30, and I think like one later in the day. So just pick a test time that is best for you and your clock, your internal clock. And last but not least, they've been telling us this probably since elementary school, eat a balanced meal the night before and the day of. Make sure you have your breakfast, and if you're taking your test later, make sure you have breakfast and lunch, just to make sure you have enough energy, your clarity, and your concentration for test day. And that is it. That is all the tips that I have for you guys. So the main reason for this video is to share that I was giving away a Rosh Review question bank. I am really excited that they were able to partner with me and give one of my lucky subscribers, give one of you guys a chance to use the Rosh Review to study for your board exams and to be successful, and YouTube can become a nurse practitioner as well. I am going to list all the giveaway rules over on my Instagram, and I am going to post this picture. So you look to our guys in a giveaway. Unfortunately, there can only be one. So good luck to you guys. All right, you guys, that is all that I have for you for this video. You already know what I'm about to say. You already know what to do. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you leave any and all comments you have down below. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you make sure you tell a friend. Woo! And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. I know that stress is coming. Get up the stairs already. All right. So on to test. Oh wow, is this so bright? I just realized that.